Hi guys, it's Eric, and today I'm in our guest bathroom here in the house, and there is an issue with the toilet. And I'll show you guys the issue right here. Here's the toilet. And we will just take off the tank cover, and you'll see it's filled with water there. So if we flush it, the toilet flushes like normal, but the tank doesn't refill. So on this episode of Problem Solved, I'm going to show you how to fix this. Alright, so the tank's not refilling on this toilet. Now there's a couple causes for this. One of them can be that this little rubber thing on the plunger here has snapped, and therefore when you do this, it doesn't actually flush, it doesn't drain the tank. We know that's not the problem because the tank drained. But it also could be that the plunger down there is not making a complete seal. And if that were the case though, your toilet would just constantly run. And that's not what's happening here. What's happening here is you get a good flush, but the tank doesn't refill. So, that means, let me get you a good angle here. You gotta start looking at things like the pipe here. And if I look at this pipe, you can pull it out, just like that. You'll see there's no water coming out of here. That's why the tank's not refilling. Now it is kind of refilling a little bit slow, and that's because there's water dripping out of this post right here. Now, I'm not sure what happened inside of that post, but these are really old. And I think there's a plastic piece inside that broke, and it's clogging it and keeping the tank from refilling. Even if that's not the issue, if there's a problem with that post, it's still an easy fix, and it's the same fix. You can go to your local hardware store, or you can go to Walmart, and you can just purchase this. It doesn't have to be this. There are many other replacement kits. There are kits that look identical to what we have here. But this one, I've put this in other toilets, and I found that it actually seems to work a little bit better, and it lasts a little bit longer. So I like these. This Korky Universal, and it's supposed to fit 99% of toilets here in the US. So it works out pretty good, and you generally don't really need tools to do this. So I'm going to take you through how to replace this post here in the toilet, and then I'll show you guys how it works. Okay, the first thing we got to do is we got to shut off the water to the toilet itself, and you can do that with this little valve back here, just like the valves under the sink in the kitchen when we did the replacement filters for the RO system. Basically, if this valve is facing towards the flow of water, it means it's on, but if you turn it perpendicular, it shuts the water off to the toilet. So that's the first step. All right, for the next step, we're gonna need a bucket first, one that can fit under here, because water is gonna come out of the tank as soon as we undo this pipe. So let's get a bucket and put it there. I know that I had just said that you probably don't need tools for this job, but in this case, I have a bidet installed on this toilet. So I am gonna need a pair of channel locks to make sure I can unscrew the metal piece back here. If you don't have a bidet installed, that piece is probably plastic, and it's probably not very tight. Okay, now that we have this disconnected, I can move this out of the way. And there's a plastic nut right here that's attaching this post, the post inside here, to the bottom of the bowl. So I'm gonna make my channel locks big, like this, so they can grip onto that washer, or that nut, that plastic nut. I'm just gonna grab it, and I'm gonna turn it, and I'm just gonna loosen it up a little bit. As I do this, you'll see water start to come out of the tank, and that's okay. Just let that water flow out of the tank. And if we move it over, more water will come out. Now this is tank water in the toilet. This isn't toilet bowl water, so it's not really dirty. And if you see, the liquid that's coming out is blue, and that's because we had one of those blue deodorizing discs in the tank itself. Hope my container is big enough. Okay, now that most of the water's out of the tank, we're just getting some last little drops there. We can take this container of water and we can just dump it right back in the bowl. And we'll leave our container down here to catch any residual drips. And let me show you what's going on top. So up here, now that we've loosened that, you'll actually see that the post here is loose now, which is good. We already disconnected this pipe, which was refilling the tank, or wasn't refilling the tank, which was the problem. So now we just want to further loosen that plastic nut on the bottom, and then we can pull this entire post out. Okay, so I'm just gonna further loosen this. Until it comes all the way off. There we go. Plastic nut just fell into the container, and if I come up here, I can pull the entire post out. Now this is the bad post. I don't know the official name for this, but I'm just calling it a post. This is the bad post. This is the one we're gonna replace. All right, now that we have the bad post out, we can just open the new one. And I'll show you guys what's going on here. So we have a length of pipe here that we can cut down to size if it doesn't fit right, but I don't think we're gonna have to. This particular kit comes with a replacement plunger. Again, this is something we can keep around because I don't necessarily need to replace the plunger in this toilet, but I can keep it around for later just in case the plunger goes bad later. Let's see. We've got some hookups, basically a plastic washer to screw on the new post. And then we've got this metal piece in here, and I'll show you what that's for. Okay, then we've got the post itself. Now this post works a little differently. If you look at the old one, right here, you'll see it has this buoy that bobs up and down, and when the water makes this float, that's what stops your toilet from filling. This one has a buoy, but it's inside this little containment, so the water just fills it up a little bit, and then as that raises, it shuts off. What makes this a universal post is that you can change the length here. So if you have to remember how to do this. There you go. If you turn counterclockwise, you can actually extend this post out, and then you can turn it clockwise again to lock it. And I'll show you what length you want. So there's a couple different ways we can measure the length. One way is we can actually compare this post to the old one, and we can see if they're roughly about the same length. And that's probably the easiest way to do it. That's pretty good actually right there. I'm actually gonna shorten this one by 1 notch. There we go, and we'll measure it again. Yeah, that's pretty spot on. Okay, this is the little metal piece that I was talking about. So this is the length of pipe, and basically what you want to do is you want to take this length of pipe and you want to push it on to this metal piece like this. And then I'm going to take this clip, and it's going to clip on the top of the plastic pipe in here. So just gonna slide it down like that, and that's it. It's attached there. And then I'm gonna take the other end of the pipe and I'm gonna attach it right here for where the water comes out of the new post. It takes 2 hands to do this. Hold on. All right, I've got the pipe installed, and as you can see, it's attached here so it refills the tank. And it's attached up here where the water comes out so it can go straight into that tube. All right, now we need to reconnect that connection on the bottom of the toilet. Okay, now we have to reconnect the water line to the bottom of the toilet. That's this line that we pushed out of the way earlier. So I'll just take this nut and I will put it on the threads of the new post, and then we'll just start screwing it down. Okay, as it starts to get tighter, I'm going to use my channel locks again. And I'm going to shrink them down so it can grip that metal nut there. And I'm just going to start to tighten it with these. Be careful that the post doesn't rotate along with the nut in here. So you can just hold it with the hand on top. Just continue to tighten this. Now you want this decently tight because this is the most likely place where water is going to leak from. Okay, tightened up. Now that we have the water line attached, it's time to turn the water back on and make sure there's no leaks. As soon as we turn it on, you'll hear the toilet start to fill up. Doesn't look like it's dripping any water. So let's take a look up here. And there you go. You have a steady stream of water that's filling the toilet. We'll just make sure it fills up and then it stops properly and doesn't continue to run. Okay. The two things that you want to make sure of is you want to make sure that the length of the new post matches the length of the old post, and you want to make sure that it actually sits below this tube here. So if you look here, my post is actually sitting too high, so I need to adjust it lower. Okay, I've adjusted the length of the post, and as you can see, it's sitting a little lower now. This is good. Let's see if we can get a good flush out of this. Okay, the tank is filling up. Now we just need to make sure it stops. So as the tank fills up, you see the water streaming into this tube. As soon as the buoy in here starts to float, the tank should stop filling up. Okay, the tank is stopped. That means we have a good flush. We're going to flush it a couple more times just to make sure everything stays in place. And we'll let the tank fill up again and make sure it stops on time. But as we're doing that, we can put the tank cover back on since we're pretty sure that the flush works. Alright, that's how you replace the post in a toilet that won't flush properly. I hope you found this video useful. Join me again for more episodes of Problem Solved, where I show you how to do basic things around the house, so you don't have to hire somebody to do it for you. Thank you for joining me for another Problem Solved.